If he says he hates the relationship, why won't he just leave? Maybe he's already told you that he hates it here, that he thinks that you're the abusive one, that he's tired of how you're manipulating him, that he's tired of, and you name it. The list can go on and on and on. But we'll find different narcissists that get to a place where they actually tell you, I hate this relationship. I don't want to be here. This is not who I want to be, the direction I want this relationship to go. Like, they'll use a lot of different ways to say it, but they'll just say, hey, like, this relationship's awful and I hate it. But then the weird part is, why doesn't he leave? You're like, well, if he hates it so much, if he tells me I'm such an awful person, if he's like frustrated and like he says all this has destroyed him, that I'm so abusive, why doesn't he actually leave? And you need to understand that a narcissist typically is comfortable in the middle of the chaos. Narcissists are comfortable in the middle of the chaos. You see, there's almost like this piece of an adrenaline rush that a narcissist gets in being in the center of the attention, but sometimes it means in the center of the chaos as well. There's a piece of my life that everything was falling apart, that it was the most intense, it was the most like awful time in my life, but it was also the most peaceful because I was used to the adrenaline. I was used to this like high of being in control, the high of like getting away from like talking with this person to transitioning to this person and hiding from this person. Like there was all this different pieces, like espionage. That's what the word I was looking for. Like espionage that was going on of like hiding from different people. There's like a high from it. Became this almost like addiction piece of like, what can I get away with? How can I show up differently to this person and differently to this person and not get caught from either one? Like, what can I do? And this high, a lot of times that comes with narcissism is this piece of like, hey, I'm trying to control and manipulate this situation. And oftentimes it puts the narcissist in the center of the chaos. Now, when you bring this into a relationship, he becomes the center of the chaos inside the relationship. Toxic as all get out. There's fights, there's yelling, there's screaming, there's rage, there's episodes of him throwing stuff, of him punching walls, of him kicking through the door. There's all these different things that have happened. And oftentimes you'll see them happen, and then a couple minutes later, he'll just be calm. Like nothing ever happened. He just screamed and raged at you, punched a hole in the wall, and then comes back in about 15 minutes later and asks you what you want for lunch. Like, kind of like, how does this connect? He rages at you and tells you that you're the problem, but then comes back in later and is ready to talk to you about other stuff because he's not actually going to divorce you. And you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, if I didn't like someone, why would I stay with them? You need to kind of start with that question first off because you're in the relationship with a toxic person that's abusing you. So the question might be, why don't you like you? Because you're not willing to actually stand up for you at this point. Unpopular opinion, but it needs to be said. So why won't he actually leave? Narcissists typically won't leave the worst situation that they will tell you that they're in because of the simple fact that once they leave, they don't have control. Like, well, it doesn't really seem like he has control over anything. Well, you have to understand he has control over you. You're like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have control over me. Well, you haven't left yet. You haven't gotten free. There's a manipulative control that comes with toxic narcissistic abuse. There's a control that he's going to leave you with, and he's going to keep you with, and he's going to think, hey, you're too naive to leave. Like, I'm not really worried about you leaving. Why would you leave me? He's going to expect you to stay because he's comfortable in the chaos. He's comfortable controlling the chaos because as he continues to control it, he continues to make you react and spiral out. As he does this, he shows that he's dominant over you. Why? Because he's pushing buttons and he's getting a reaction that he wants out of you. He's like, what should we have? Let's get her mad today. Mad. He's like, see, I'm in control. Let's get her sad today. Sad. See, I'm in control. You have to understand the chaos that you feel is like all over the place is oftentimes orchestrated by the toxic person to be able to manipulate and show that he has dominance over you by producing the desired result that he wants from you. Your reaction, your rage, your frustration, you snapping at the kids, him coming in to save, like all these different things where you're just like, what's going on? Narcissist thrives in the chaos. This is a piece in my own growth that I felt weird about. Like I felt weird as I started growing and getting healthier and healthier when there wasn't chaos. It almost felt like anxious. So like something should be happening. Something should be blowing up right now. Like there should be a fight. There should be something, and there wasn't. And it was this piece of like trying to get used to like the peace of me not causing all the shit. Like me showing up honest and changing my behavior. Then there's like, okay, like right now I should have an adrenaline spike, and there's nothing. And I'm like, well, this is weird. Like it was this new piece that I had to get used to because I'd been used to for such a long period of time controlling the chaos, being in the center of the chaos. Here's the wild thing is it doesn't make sense logically to you. Because you're thinking about it and you're like, logically, he would just leave. If he was that upset with me, if he hated me that much, I would think he would just leave. That's the piece that he's counting on you to stay naive because he's not going to leave. You have to think first and foremost that he's looking at the reasons of how does he actually either justify leaving or what's the benefit for him to leave. If he can be with you and cheat on you and you don't leave him, why would he leave? He's like, I've got the image. I look married and I'm cheating. I look like I have it together and I'm doing what I want to do. Why would he leave? You're like, well, he says that the relationship is awful. He says that it's chaos. He says that I'm abusive. Okay? But he's still in control. I want you to consider that narcissism inside the relationship with all the chaos and all the shit that's going on is like a tornado. It's like this whirlwind effect that is whirling through your entire life and ecosystem, destroying every single thing in its path. It's ripping out your heart. It's tearing your mind and emotions to shreds. It's hurting you on a day-to-day basis, and you're like, ah. And inside the center of the tornado stands the narcissist. You see, inside the center of a tornado with all the wind that whips around, inside the center of the funnel, there's actually a little bit of calmness. There's actually a little bit of peace. It still leaves behind a huge wake. But in the center of a tornado, everything is spinning around. There's nothing spinning through the center. Everything's spinning around. This is where the narcissist resides oftentimes. Knowing and directing and stepping, being if I step over here, the tornado funnel goes over here. If I step over here, the tornado funnel goes over here. And what it does is it rips people to pieces. It damages lives. It destroys relationships. It breaks apart families. But he's in the middle being like, because the center of the tornado is the control of the chaos. Step to the right, destroy your confidence. Step to the left, eradicate your self-esteem. But he won't be damaged. He won't be impacted the way that you think. He'll give you a story. He'll sell himself as a victim to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is how you're so abusive. But at the end of the day, he's in the center of the tornado and he's moving around causing the chaos in your life. And the question is, how long are you going to stay in the tornado? Like, well, I can't outrun it. Tornado's impossible to outrun. Yeah, in real life. I'm talking about real life. We're talking about the shit that happens inside the relationship. Not a physical tornado, but an emotional tornado. Not a physical ripping apart, but an emotional, spiritual, ripping you down to shreds. The wild thing is you feel like that tornado is all encompassing your life in so many different ways, but it's only encompassing the amount that you let it to encompass. You see, when we talk about the emotional tornado and the chaos of your life with a narcissist in it, all of that is only going to affect you to the level that you let it and to the level that you expose yourself to it. To the level that you let it of, hey, is this going to cause me to react the way that I don't want to react? Is this going to cause me to interact the way that I don't want to interact? Or is it going to change my complete perspective to a place where I'm not going to respond that way? I'm not going to react that way because he doesn't have control over me anymore. I have control over me. I'm no longer a victim to what he does, what he says, how he feels, how late he stays out, what he drinks, what he does, who he talks to, all these different things. But instead, you're in charge of you. Understand that you can actually be free from the tornado in your life. But it comes down to a willingness. Willingness for you to be free, a willingness for you to make a choice, a willingness for you to make a difference in your life. So many people struggle with this because they're like, I don't know if I can be free. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's possible. It's possible. We see people that get free every single day. The hard part is, will you actually choose it? Or will you stay in the chaos of the tornado that he controls in your life? If you want to be free today, please go to rawmotivation.com/breakthrough. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, rate, review. If you're listening on the podcast, share it with someone, rate it. Would love for you to be able to just help support as we try to spread the awareness of narcissistic abuse and also how to liberate people and heal them from the toxicity that they've endured.